Mary Queen of Scots is buried under a huge tomb and inside of a burial vault, along with many other members of the Stuart family.
A body-shaped lead shell sat in the dark for generations until a group of church leaders decided to look inside. This was not a normal burial box because it followed the curves of a human frame from the shoulders down to the feet. Historians were speechless when they realized this metal case held the remains of Mary Queen of Scots. They found her lying in a vault packed with the tiny coffins of children who never got to grow up. This hidden room in Westminster Abbey holds secrets that were never meant to be part of the public record. Bloody End at Fotheringhay. Mary Queen of Scots spent nearly 19 years as a prisoner before her story reached its final chapter in a cold stone hall. She was a queen who people thought was dangerous because she had a claim to the throne of England. In the middle of February in 1587, the government decided to end her life after a secret plot was uncovered. The hall at Fotheringhay Castle was filled with black cloth and a small wooden platform was built for the event. Most people look right past the part where the Queen turned her final moments into a message for the world. She came into the room wearing a dark veil, but underneath she had picked out clothes of bright red. In the old traditions, red was the color of someone who died for their faith. Wait, there is one big problem with how the ending went down. The man with the axe was not very good at his job. It took 3 swings to finish the work, which was seen as a very clumsy and mean way to treat a queen. When the job was finally over, the man picked up her head by the hair, but he got a huge surprise. The red hair stayed in his hand because it was just a wig. Mary's real hair was very short and gray because she had been sick and stressed for so many years. Believe it or not, it gets even weirder because a tiny dog had been hiding under her long skirts the whole time. The little animal would not leave her side and had to be washed because it was covered in her blood. Wait, there is a bit of a snag when it comes to the things Mary left behind. The officials were terrified that people would treat her clothes or the wooden block as holy items. To stop this, they grabbed everything she had used that morning and threw it into a giant fireplace in the hall. They even made sure to wash the floors so no one could take a piece of the wood or cloth as a memory. If you look a little closer, you find the real story is about how they tried to erase her presence. They took her body into a side room where her loyal servants were not allowed to go. Inside that room, men had to get the body ready for a long stay in a metal box. They had to remove her inner parts and pack her with spices like cloves and myrrh to slow down the rot. Here is the part that trips everyone up about her lead coffin. It was very heavy and sealed tight, but the gases inside the body started to build up. This pressure was so strong that it actually broke the metal seams of the casket. A plumber had to come to the castle to fix the lead so the smell and the mess would stay inside. Mary had asked to be buried in France, but the Queen of England said no. She did not want Mary's grave to become a place where people would go to start a rebellion. So the metal box stayed in the castle for 6 months while the government argued about where to put her. Her inner parts were buried in a secret spot inside the castle walls that no one has ever found. Waiting for a grave. Fast forward a little bit and things look totally different for the dead queen. The government finally picked a place for her to rest in a town called Peterborough. It was a large church that already held the grave of Catherine of Aragon. This was a smart move because it made the funeral look big and respectful without being too close to the capital city. The lead coffin was put on a coach pulled by 4 horses and moved along dark roads in the middle of the night. On the day of the funeral, over 300 people were given black clothes to wear for the walk to the church. The part that nobody talks about is that the English government paid for all of it just to make themselves look better. They wanted the world to think they were treating the dead queen with honor. But here's where it gets tricky for the people watching the service. The man giving the talk was very careful with his words. He did not say Mary was a good person or a bad person. He just said it was a good thing that her life had ended and that everyone should listen to their rulers. After the service, the Scottish women in the room did something very sweet. They lined up and kissed the English ladies as they walked out. It was a rare moment of peace between 2 groups that had been fighting for years. Most folks have no idea that the grave was left with almost no protection. A supporter of Mary hung a poem near the spot that called the English rulers mean, but the church took it down right away. Mary stayed in that stone hole for about 25 years. During that time, her son James became the King of England. He had spent his whole life trying to be careful, but now he had the power to change his mother's story. He sent a rich velvet cloth to cover her grave as a first step. Here is the tiny detail that almost everyone misses about why he waited so long. He did not want to make the English people angry by moving her too fast. He waited until he was settled on his own throne before he ordered a grand tomb for her in London. Let us switch gears for a second and look at how they got her out. In 1612, men went back to the church in Peterborough and lifted the lead coffin out of the floor. It was a quiet trip this time. They moved the heavy box to Westminster Abbey in the evening when most people were not around. You honestly could not make this stuff up, but she was finally going to be put right next to the kings and queens of England. Her son spent a fortune on a new monument that was made of fine marble and touchstone. The new tomb was meant to show that she was a true queen and not a traitor. Final resting place battles. To put it in simple words, the new tomb was a giant political statement. It was built in the Lady Chapel, which is the most special part of the whole abbey. If you walk into that room, you see two giant monuments on opposite sides. On one side is Elizabeth I, and on the other side is Mary Queen of Scots. If you take away all the noise, it is about this. Two rivals are stuck together for the rest of time. Mary's statue is even a little bit taller than Elizabeth's statue. This was her son's way of saying that his mother was just as important as the woman who ordered her end. Most people look right past this part of the marble statue. Mary is shown with a very calm look on her face. Her hands are pressed together and a Scottish lion is sitting at her feet. The words carved into the side are all in Latin, and they talk about her famous family tree. They remind everyone that she was the mother of the man who was now ruling both England and Scotland. The part that makes absolutely no sense to visitors today is how much this cost. The king spent about £170 on the statue and more for the stone canopy above it. In today's money, that would be like spending a small fortune on a single grave. But there is a bit of a snag with what is actually under the statue. People see the white marble and think that is where she is, but the real burial spot is a brick room deep under the floor called a vault. Mary was the very first person put into this new chamber in 1612. Wait, there is one big problem with how the vault was used after that. It was not just for her. Over the next 100 years, the Stuart family kept opening the floor and putting more people inside. It became the main spot for her descendants, including many royal children who passed away as babies. Let us look at what is actually happening inside that crowded space. There are over 80 coffins in that one underground room. Most of them are very small. Queen Anne, who was Mary's great-granddaughter, had 18 children, but none of them lived to be adults. All of those tiny caskets were placed in the same room with Mary. It sounds like a movie, but it is 100% real that the vault became a site of great sadness. The space was eventually packed so full that there was no room left for anyone else. The vault stayed sealed for hundreds of years while the world above it changed forever. Vault door swings open. Here is the short version of the story about why they finally opened the door. In 1867, a man named Dean Stanley was in charge of the abbey. He was obsessed with finding out where all the old kings and queens were actually hiding. The records were a mess and he wanted to make a new map. Wait, there is a bit of a snag because he was not allowed to just dig wherever he wanted. He had to be very careful not to damage the old building. He started a project to look inside the royal vaults to see who was still there. When they finally opened the Stuart vault under the south aisle, the workers were shocked. This is the part that makes absolutely no sense to anyone who expects a neat grave. The room was a disaster. Instead of neat rows of coffins, they saw a giant pile of metal and wood. Because the vault was small, the coffins had been stacked on top of each other. Over time, the weight of the top boxes had crushed the ones at the bottom. If you look a little closer, you find the real story is that many of the coffins were broken open. Bones and nameplates were scattered all over the floor. Here is the tiny detail that almost everyone misses about Mary's coffin. Dean Stanley found her casket pushed against the north wall. It did not look like a normal box. It was a lead shell that was shaped exactly like a human body. You could see the shape of the head, the curve of the shoulders, and even the legs. To say it was big is not even the half of it. It was covered in a black sticky substance called pitch to keep it sealed. Even after 250 years, her lead shell was still closed while others around her had fallen apart. Believe it or not, it gets even weirder when you look at who was lying right next to her. He found the coffin of her grandson, Prince Henry, and the casket of Lady Arbella Stuart. Arbella's coffin was so badly damaged that the workers could see right inside. The vault was a crowded reminder of how many royals had ended their days in prison or from sickness. Let us look at what is actually happening with the memory of the Queen. Dean Stanley did not open her lead shell, but he made detailed drawings of what the room looked like. He then ordered the vault to be sealed back up with new stone. Mary Queen of Scots still lies in that body-shaped box under the floor of the Abbey. Her story moved from the axe to the castle and finally to a room full of her own family. Does a grand marble statue make up for a life spent in prison? Tell us what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe for more stories about the secrets of the past.